greater king has ever lived. No one with the love and kindness, strength and courage of King Ra.
King Raj. Oh, that's good.
And that's getting that good news. Okay, let's get in it. Let's do it. If you got the way of the heart, we're going to be on page 144. That's where we're going to start. And I'm going to focus in on some of the main, most powerful points in the way of mastery. And we know the only rules are we don't have to believe it, have to accept it, welcome it. We're looking for that one sentence, that one statement that might be the one that makes the difference for us. You are that one choosing to enter the way of transformation. You are the one choosing to enter the way of transformation, whereby human consciousness, the human level of experience, becomes the living expression, the fruit which has sprung forth from the soil in which the roots of grace, love, and healing has been well planted. It starts off on page 144. There's a paragraph that starts out, and it says the next 12 lessons, called The Way of Transformation, requires not striving. The next 12 lessons, called The Way of Transformation, requires allowing, not thinking, letting go into feeling, not doing, but trusting. So the next level goes from not thinking to letting go into feeling, not doing, trusting, feeling, and trusting. It says those roots of fear must be dissolved at a level that is deeper than the conscious thinking mind can reach. The mind was never designed to be your master, but to become aligned as a servant of the awakened heart. Just like the flower blooms and sends forth its scent for all to see from the depth of the soil that is unseen but has been well prepared, so that the only roots that gather nourishment from the soil are the roots of that which speaks of life and beauty, and not that which speaks of fear and unworthiness. So you then to seek no more. Seek to seek no more. For the place is prepared for you, and you need only go to the place prepared for you. Therefore, we will be cultivating more deeply the art of surrendering. That means resting ever more deeply into that place of silence, which is the threshold to perfect wisdom divine. The way of the heart is the preparation of the soil that allows the way of transformation to truly occur. Transformation is not complete until transformation envelops, encompasses, and is expressed through the very life you know now. Right now, right there, on your little speck of dust, your body, whirling around one sun in a small part of one universe. So expressed on your earth and in your time frame, your relationships, your experience, and in your life as you know it, as you live it, as you breathe it, as you feel it. So let the breath flow and realize that you have the freedom to go back over the previous lessons and see if there's anything that you missed. As you do that, do it from a place of Christedness. Again, you are that one choosing to enter the way of transformation. What is the way of transformation? Whereby your human consciousness, your human lived experience becomes the living expression, the fruit which has sprung forth from the soil to which the roots of grace and love and healing have been well planned. So, what are you?
Speck of dust.
Speck of dust. That's what you think you are?
Sure.
Christ.
What are you?
Spirit.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
The purity of the consciousness that you come from.
I'm just throwing up what.
I have no
what are
idea.
you? Okay, thank you.
At the end of the day, I think I have an idea, like I'm this universal being that's sent here to do something in particular, and I don't know what the hell that is. So in the end, I really don't know.
And according to what we've been listening to over the last several weeks, what have we been told that we're here for?
Doing.
Doing what?
To be and extend love.
Yeah. That the reason why we're here is to extend the good, the beautiful, the holy, to extend love. It says consciousness is the gift of life, streaming. I can feel. How do you all feel this evening? How do you feel? How do you feel? Do you feel separate? Do you feel like you're in your own little personal
Yes.
container? You feel like that. I feel like that. You feel like you're
Yes.
like all of you all that you did where we all now little own little personal
Yes.
containers right now. Kind of being around each. It's like I always say this. Take the same energy that you had before the class started. It's the same people, and just bring it. Because at what point do we become what we're reading about? At what point does it become more than something on some words on the page that we're looking at? Because every time we get together, to me, it's another opportunity to get outside of the illusion of being separate. It's another opportunity. And the only way that that's going to happen is through communication. The more we communicate, the more we join, the more connected that we feel. That's why one of the ego or the fear-based mind's primary ways of keeping us from joining is not communicating. I talk to so many people who, the number one thing that people talk about in sessions when I talk to people is relationship. It's almost always relationship. You know, something they like to see different about their relationship, or they're noticing patterns in the way that their relationship works. And most of the things that are described are things that could be almost immediately solved if they communicated with the person that they're in relationship with. If they just ask a few questions of the person that they're in relationship with. Because what that relationship is doing is giving you a chance to totally surrender to extending the good, the beautiful, and the holy, and the loving. You know, if I'm going to single you out and say that I want to give you my attention, well, it seems to me that the real fun of that would be me not holding back. If I've chosen, then you become an opportunity for me to express the love that I'm hearing that I am to express. What better person to do that with than the people that I see myself as closest to and most connected to and most familiar with. What happens is we'll try to do that mostly with strangers first, people that we don't really know as well. So if we're about to go through the way of transformation, which is awesome because it says that I'm going to go through some of the highlighted stuff instead of focusing on every sentence. I want to focus on the things that are very powerful. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. I want to tap on the most powerful thoughts. It says consciousness is the gift of life streaming forth from the mind of God. Are you willing to allow that little drop that you are to be transformed into that which fully and always expresses the love of God, even though that expression is still temporary, because the body has arisen in the field of time and disappears in the field of time? So are you willing to say, what the heck, and allow that love to be as fully embodied as it possibly can be for the split second that the body is in this world? Because I needed that. Thank you. That was perfect. I couldn't think of anything that was better to happen at that very moment. That was the totally divine order, if you ask me. I needed a little of that mojo right there. That was perfect. Of course, the one with the laugh would have the music that's somebody come on down. Okay, all right. See, there's a part of us that doesn't want to hear anything that this book has to say. Okay, let's get clear about that. There's a part of our mind that resists these thoughts and resists hearing something totally different, right? But it's really exciting. So if we look at it like, okay, what the heck? Let's listen to what it's saying. It doesn't matter. We don't really have to believe it if we don't want to believe it. Let's just see if something interesting is being said that we can tune into. So it says, rest assured, to the degree that you turn your attention to expressing mastery, which means to the degree that you use time wisely to be the embodied love, which is Christ, when your body drops away and it veils from you no longer the magnificence of the light that you are. Your body is a lampshade. Your body is a lampshade, and you are the light. And the only thing that happens when the body drops away is you become aware that you are a light, and you are love, and you're not the body. So it says the light will not be blinding to you. It will be magnificent. You will not contract in fear. You will merely let this world go gently and as easily as a child has put away a toy that has been outgrown because its usefulness is complete. So all that you see, your body, your relationships, your devices, your stars, your winds, and your waters will eventually be put aside by you, not out of denial, but simply out of recognizing that their usefulness is over. Do you know that just like when you were a child, that you put away the toys that you were playing with as a child? Then this book is saying that we are spiritual beings inhabiting a physical body that's creating this experience that we're having, and even the bodies and everything that we're seeing right here. When we get in touch with our true spiritual identity, one day we'll lay this aside just like we laid aside the toys that we laid aside as children. And then it goes on to say, indeed, beloved friends, as we come then to the completion of the first 12 lessons, look well to see that no drops of grace have been ignored. Open the heart ever more deeply. Allow those pearls of grace, those drops of grace, to penetrate even more deeply, not just as ideas in the thinking mind, but as feelings in the cells of your body. So at some point, we got to feel it instead of thinking it. Sometimes, at some point, this has got to generate some type of emotional response rather than just an intellectual response. How excited would I be about this if I thought it was going to get me everything I've ever wanted in my heart? If I really believed that these lessons would give me everything that I've ever wanted in my heart, how excited would I be about that? How much would that turn me on? Because that's exactly what it is. Everything that I'm working my can off in the world to try to achieve, I could take the ideas and the meditations and the thoughts that the Way of Mastery is giving, and those things would just be added to us, which is really powerful. So it says, remember always that what you see is what you get. Tell me what you see, and that's what you're going to get. Tell me how you see, and that's what you're going to get. So it's saying, remember always that what you see is what you get, in the same way that what you teach, you learn. So I'm teaching this so I can learn it. To teach it is to demonstrate, is to learn it. So we're going to do a meditation of release. And so you want to look well and then ask yourself this. But before we go into the meditation of release, take a deep breath just for a minute. And I'd like you to take a moment to think about something that was on your mind before you came here that you may have been using to keep yourself from feeling complete peace and joy.
Mm-hmm.
And then remind yourself that your only problem is an identity problem. Your only problem is an identity problem. The only problem is that I've forgotten who I really am. The only problem is that we've forgotten who we really are. So ask yourself this: who do I know in my existence who I have judged and locked into a certain box? And I have decided that's all they are. Who is it that you know in your existence that you have judged, which means who is the person that you've locked into a certain box and you have decided that is all they are, is what you think they are? Use the next 30 days to take time and use time wisely to allow the names, the images, and the faces of those that you have judged to come back to you. Use the next 30 days to let the names and the faces of those who you think you have judged, let those names and images and faces that you have judged come back to you to say, and this is what you want to say. And what you're doing now, you're freeing yourself from the grievances that are blocking your miracles. That's what this is about, because every grievance that you have blocks your abundance. Every time you have a grievance, imagine someone just taking money out your bank account or taking abundance out of your experience. You know who it is. You know whether it's a mother, father, an ex-mate, whoever it is. I get it. If you say, you know, mother, father, ex-mate, whoever this is, say, I get it. I get it. I get it. I have placed you in a box and I've thrown away the key. You are stuck. So I have said, and now I release you that I might be released. I release you that I might be released. I release you so that I might be released. So I want you to contemplate their image. Take a look at their face. If you can't visualize their face, just say their name. Then say, I have placed you in a box and I've thrown away the key. You are stuck, and so I have said. And now I release you that I might be released. Contemplate their image. I want you to allow the memories of the experiences that you have shared with them to come back. Let the memories come back. The memories that you've shared with them. The thing that makes you stuck. The thing that keeps you holding them in a box, in a certain image. If there are feelings, by all means, let yourself feel the feelings that you're having about them. Don't try to be positive. I'm not asking you to try to bathe them in the light of love. I'm asking you to just feel what you feel about this being. Gaze upon them in your mind, that person, the one that you may be using to keep you stuck. Gaze upon them until you begin to feel that sweetness of your own freedom that will come when you release them, that dissolves the imprisonment into which you have placed them and also placed yourself. There's a prayer from the Course in Miracles that I'd like to say. You think of that person, think of their name, and silently you might want to say this. Say their name and say, I give you to the Holy Spirit, which is the love of God. I give you to the Holy Spirit. I give you to love as part of myself. I give you to the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of love, the Spirit of God, the Spirit of the divine. I give you to the Holy Spirit as part of myself. I give you to the Holy Spirit as part of myself. I give you to love as part of myself. I give you to love as part of myself. I give you to the Creator as part of myself. I give you to Spirit as part of myself. I know that you will be released unless I want to use you to imprison myself. I know that you will be released unless I want to use you to imprison myself. I know that you will be released unless I want to use you to imprison myself. In the name of my freedom, 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 I choose your release. In the name of my freedom, in the name of my freedom, in the name of my freedom, I choose your release. Because I recognize that we will be released together. Because I recognize that we will be released together. I give you to the Holy Spirit as part of myself. I know that you will be released unless I want to use you to imprison myself. In the name of my freedom, I choose your release because I recognize that we will be released to our abundance, to our joy, to our happiness, to our healing together. I give you to the Holy Spirit. I give you to love as part of myself. I know that you will be released unless I want to use you to imprison myself. In the name of my freedom, I choose your release because I recognize that we will be released together. Take a breath and relax. Free yourself. This is an opportunity for you to free yourself. This is an opportunity for you to free yourself. This is an opportunity for you to free yourself. Release yourself. Let your good, your healing, your joy, your fun, your contentment, your satisfaction. This is an opportunity for you to let go of that person, that perception, that situation that's keeping you stuck. You want to go. I give you to the Holy Spirit as part of myself. I know that you will be released unless I want to use you. I know that you will be released unless I want to use you to imprison myself. I know that you will be released unless I want to use you to imprison myself. In the name of my freedom, in the name of my freedom, in the name of my freedom, I choose your release because I recognize that we will be released together. I have placed you in a box and thrown away the key. You are stuck in my mind, so I have said. And now I release you that I might be released. That can be an ex-mate, an ex-lover, a mother, a father, a boss, a co-worker, especially in a relationship that you know you're carrying the baggage around of any kind. And as that imprisonment begins to melt, you will sense and you will know your freedom is blossoming. You can't take fear into love. You cannot take fear into love. You cannot take judgment into forgiveness. You cannot take judgment into forgiveness. You cannot take limitation into unlimitedness. These things must be released at the level which they were first created. Therefore, give yourself 30 days with the goal to truly go back and, shall we say, mop up any forgiveness, which means releasing that you need yet to do. Don't let your mind say, I don't know if I did that well enough. I don't know if I did that well enough tonight. Don't let your mind say, I don't know if I did that. As a matter of fact, I wasn't even here. I wasn't even tuned in. I don't want to release myself so bad that I didn't even hear anything that you were saying, let alone do anything that you were saying. I'm not ready to be free. I'm not ready to have abundance. I'm not ready to have loving relationships all the time yet. I'm not ready for constant happiness yet. So I don't even know what you said. What did you say? What? I didn't hear that. What you talking about? I'm not even ready to have no happiness. I'm still enjoying bitching and banging and complaining right now. That's what I do. You know, like that, you know. I don't know if I did that well enough. But understand, it is the Comforter, your higher power, that releases you and the other person. It's going to be your higher power, the divine, that actually releases you and the other person. But it's only happening through your willingness to allow it to happen. So we're doing this as a symbol of our willingness to allow our release to happen. You don't actually do the release. You don't actually do the healing. You just allow it. This is symbolic of your willingness to allow it to enter. One of the hardest things to really accept is that I'm never doing it for the other person. Mm. You know, there's some part of me that still thinks when it talks about forgiving and releasing and letting go of the upset or the grievance that is happening towards somebody else, that somehow or another I'm doing it for them. And what the truth keeps saying over and over again is, actually, it's your own self-hatred and your own self-loathing and your own desire to suffer that keeps you from releasing someone else, because at the point that you are no longer holding a grievance, which is the same as saying when you're no longer not taking responsibility for your experience. Because that's all the grievance is. It's me not taking responsibility for my own experience of happiness. Then it frees me.
And it's not retracted because you don't act a certain way. That's not love. It's something else, but it's not love.
Whoa.
I've been wanting to practice my spiritual ventriloquism. And I was trying to see if I could throw my voice over behind everybody.
Did you? That's a trick.
That was
for
pretty
her.
good. That was
That
pretty
was pretty
good.
darn
That was
good.
pretty darn good, wasn't it?
King Raj.
Yeah, yeah.
Whoa, the king.
So, do you love yourself enough to let go of your grievances that you have, which means you're holding somebody else responsible for your happiness and how you're feeling? Because that's what a grievance always is. It's always me making someone else responsible for how I feel. And even if it looked like somebody did something to me in the past, they're not doing it now. So I still don't have any excuse. Whatever my father did or did not do when I was growing up, it ain't happening now. So if I'm still holding on to it, it's because I don't think I deserve to be free. I don't believe I deserve to have abundance and happiness, because grievances block abundance and they block love. They literally like a shield that you're putting up before the light to keep your good from coming to you, and then you're in the shadow. And so we got a lot of people that are in the shadow right now, and your grievance is the block to your good. But remember, the grievance is only coming from the meaning that you're giving to the situation right now. And the grievance is only coming from you having a script that didn't get acted out in some way. That's where the grievance is coming from. You got a script. Like you said, who are the people that you have locked in a box, that you pretty much decided this is the way they are, this is the way they're gonna be, and you don't even entertain the possibility that there could be another way. So when we went through that, would anybody care to share any feeling that they had or anything that came up for them? Yeah.
I feel like I do that with everybody in my life. I put everybody in a box of who I think they are. So it was like hard to choose somebody in particular, because I realize I do that with everybody.
It reminds me of what the Course was saying. One of the things that the Course says that really helped me out a lot, it says application is specific. And that one of the biggest challenges, biggest ways that our ego hooks us is to at first generalize before we can really generalize. It's like you were saying, there were so many people that came up. And that, I don't know if that happened with you, but that can be a reason not to specifically do it. Like most people always choose themselves first.
Yes.
Right. That's another way not to do it. You know, that's just another polite way not to deal with my grievance. It seems really holy, but the truth is, I needed to let go of the grievance that I had made up as a child, that I held my father in an image of for having a problem with alcoholism, which was his call for love, that made him sometime abusive. For me to go there is the way to apply it specifically in order to really start to get past the block. Because then I had to actually tell the truth, bring it up, something I'm really feeling specifically toward a person that would allow me to confront the fact that I still have this grievance that's going on. And so I just remember the Course kept saying, application is specific. It says, what you do is you apply the truth specifically until you get to the point that you start to generalize it, but you're generalizing it because you've seen it work in specific situations so much that your mind automatically accepts that it could work in every situation. It's almost like me telling you all, I love all of you. But that's it. But the truth is, at an ego personality level, I don't.
Right.
It's one of those things that sounds really great.
Yeah.
But it really is not the truth.
Right.
You know, but if I'm in a relationship with you and I can free you, support you in who you are, really care about you, really want the best for you, really see you as myself, want to support you in who you're being. When you do something I don't like, recognizing it's just me making myself feel that way, and that you're not here to act out my script. You're here to express who you are. my specialness toward you, which I'm calling love, would really be a test to see if I could do that, because it's harder to practice love and the truth with people that you know than it is with people that you don't know. So it's easy for me to free you to do whatever it is you feel like you need to do, because I'm not in a special relationship with you. But for me to be able to do that specific with my child, with my friends, with my lover, with anybody that's intimate with me, that's the true spiritual muscle being flexed. Because at that point, I'm willing to go beyond my scripts to want your happiness more than I want my script acted out. And since I do have a special feeling toward you, it would actually call for me to practice it and call on my strength to practice it more with you than it would be with somebody who I'm looking at on TV that I'm saying I'm loving. Does it make sense to everybody? So the real, that's why we have special relationships, because special relationships speed us along in flexing our spiritual love muscles, because the people that are most special to us are the ones that we have the most desire to do the thing that validates us, to make us feel good. So those are the ones we put in the box. Like you're saying, who is the person in the box that you think you figured out, that you know exactly how they are and how they're supposed to be, and therefore you don't give them a chance to express themselves in a loving way that would blow your mind if they could get outside of your perception of them, you know. So it was great that you saw a lot of people and that you could have felt that too, but when you get a chance, you know,
well, I did
be great.
I mean, I picked somebody and I worked with that.
Yeah.
It just made me realize that when I'm releasing them in order to release myself, you know, that's what I want. I want to be released, and I want to have not other people deciding who they think I am based on their perceptions. So to be able to give what it is I want to receive was really powerful.
That's right.
For me.
That's right. That's what I said. I said you may not have done that,
Yeah.
but that happens a lot.
Yeah.
That happens a lot. Yeah, but you know why you did that, right? Just like what you said, because you want it.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing about
That's
it. I don't care what people say to me. As far as I'm concerned, giving is asking. So I always believe that people are always asking for whatever they're giving, not what they're saying. So, you know, so if at the point you were ready to give it, that's how you knew you were sincere about receiving it. And so that's how you can trust that you're making the shift. Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah, I had sort of the same feeling, but I decided, well, I asked whoever would come up to be the person that I would deal with, you know, because I couldn't decide. It seemed like everybody, but I also got this feeling, I have this thing like it comes up, it's a thought system. It comes up like at 3 every morning. It's difficult to deal with, creates a lot of stuff. Can something like this be used with that, you know, rather than an individual person, but realizing that the thought system is something, you know, the way it comes in is something that's holding me in a space I'm not forgiving. It's maybe presenting to me a lot of my own lack of forgiveness created by a generalization of people. So could I use something like this when that's happening?
Absolutely. It's just that what I'm doing is, and this is another thing I'm just putting out here. This is my curriculum. And it's telling me what to do. And it said, think of a person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be a
Yeah.
smart ass. I'm just saying, you notice,
Thanks.
and you notice that the temptation will always
Yeah.
be not to do
What is-
whatever you're being instructed to do, the way you're being instructed to do it. It's like it's a part of my mind that will always want to do it somehow differently. But you can apply the truth to everything. Of course, you can put a situation in there. But most of us have our
Yes.
boxes and grievances and unforgivenesses around people
Yeah.
that we have some kind of relationship with. And so that's why the name of it's called a meditation of release. And of course you can put a situation in. But this was specifically asking us to take the people that we know we
Yeah.
judged, people that we know that we don't always feel peace when we think about and love when we think about this. These are the best people to release us, because wherever the biggest grievance is, that's where the biggest miracle is had. Like wherever you're the most upset and the most fearful, right on the other side of that is where everything you've ever wanted in your heart is located. It's almost like if you want to know where the portal is wherever I'm angry. The portal is wherever I'm upset. The portal is wherever I'm jealous. The portal is wherever I'm afraid. That is where the treasure is, right on the other side of that perception, which is awesome. They give me a different kind of perspective about the things that are upsetting me. Anybody? Yeah.
I recently formed a special relationship about 2 weeks ago. We met each other on the street, and it was the happiest feeling. I have all these dreams, we're gonna do awesome stuff, you know? And then I came back down to Denver, been with family for 4 days, not talking to each other, calling to each other, led to its own fear in me, and the script I wanted of like, when I call you, I want you to talk to me and tell me your day. And so this has created a grievance. Even though it's a new relationship, it very much stands in my mind and hurts a bit, because the script I have prescribed is not being followed. But also, today, right before I walked in, I'm like, I think I'm done. I don't like feeling this way. I don't like feeling vulnerable or scared. I'm just going to delete his number. I'm just going to delete it all. And just that way I don't have to deal with it. So, of course, always the lessons right when you need them. They're right here. For you to say that they're
Damn it.
Damn it! I won't be crazy, girl. Delete it. Then the crazy will stop for now, I guess. So for you to say that that's where the treasure is on the other side of that.
Yeah.
Especially.
Yeah. Because really, it keeps coming back to what really upset you was not the person. What upset you was the fantasy. It's always the fantasy. But you know what the trip is? You let go of your attachment to the family. You let go of your attachment to the fantasy. And the weird part about it is, that's when it looks like the fantasy is met by those who can meet it in a way that's absolutely perfect for you. That's the paradox of the whole thing that is very difficult to get across to people, is that there's no sacrifice on this path. This path doesn't mean that you've got to give up the idea of having someone that you can talk to and say, how was your day? And they're asking you, how was your day? Because once you let go of the grievance, then he just said it, you've let go of the block to your experiencing the love that you want to experience. So you don't ever tell yourself you can't have what you want. It's just really about recognizing that it's only you that's causing yourself the pain that you're going through. And that is the undoing of the block. Because now I can let go of my grievance because you're not the one that's doing anything to me in the first place, for real. And that's what's hard for people to get, that no one's doing anything to you, really. The Court says all attack is physical. And it's hard for people to get that. If I have not physically attacked you, then I am not responsible for how you're feeling. If I'm not attacking you, then the way you're feeling is coming from you. Your crucifixion is coming from you. And that's what you realize. I was crucifying myself with the fantasy that I had about this person that I met and how they were supposed to be acting. They actually didn't do anything. It's almost like deleting his phone number for not acting the way he should have acted in your imagination. Which means he actually didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Actually.
How do you get rid of the crazy though? Because the crazy
the way you get rid of the crazy is exactly the way you're doing it. You get rid of the crazy by first recognizing that you're the crazy.
The number really was for me.
Right. Yeah, that is your thoughts that's creating the craziness. But you got to understand, 90% of people don't make that realization. They don't make that. It's like you're able to say it very matter-of-factly. Yeah, I realized that it was something in me that was upsetting me. Do you realize 90% of people never say that? They never say, I'm the one that's making myself upset. They never say, I'm the one that's doing this to me. The mere fact that you said that is the undoing of the pattern, is the forgiveness. The only thing that's needed is to continue to do that. Continue to tell yourself that. And to get past that thought of, I'm going to say it one time, and that's supposed to make it all right for the rest of my life. And that's the error that we make. We say the truth once or twice, expect the whole life, our lives to change, but tell ourselves the crazy over and over and over and over and over and over all day long, in every way possible, in every situation possible, with everybody possible, and then throw in one truth thought and go, my God, my pattern did not go. What's the problem? Right? Once, maybe, half-heartedly. So no, Shanae, that's perfect. What you are doing is exactly, and then to do what we did today. Let's take it a step further. Let's go. I give you to the Holy Spirit as part of myself. I know that you will be released unless I want to use you to imprison myself. In the name of my freedom, I choose your release because I recognize that we will be released together. The answer is to say, who do I know in my existence that I've just... In other words, everything... It's almost like if you were to look at the things that you're reading as almost like magical incantations, I think people would use it more. If you really thought like abracadabra, poof, it's like, that's what this is. You say it in these situations, and that's what brings about the change. Most people don't. They'll hear it, but when the situation comes up, how many times today have you said, let miracles replace all grievances? As opposed to, son of a gun, this is what you did that I'm upset about, that I hope I can remember something that the book might say to help me deal with it if I go come to class tonight. You see what I'm saying? Anybody else? Yes.
Oh, right. So is there a way to release them but still choose not to have them in your life because you know that some of the things they do continue to trigger you and you just are not there at the level of mastery yet?
Yes, if the way that I would do a situation like that is that until I got to the point that I could give myself peace in their presence and I had any kind of choice about being in their presence without attacking them, then I would choose not to be. Because it's like, you know that your goal is to release them, you know that you're being triggered, and so it's nothing wrong with choosing not to be around somebody while you're working on yourself, as long as you know it's yourself that needs to change. Yes. So the short answer is yes. It's perfectly okay for you to choose not to be around somebody while you're in the process of changing your mind about them. Sometimes you can change your mind faster if you're not around them. That's called separating to heal. Separating to heal. I need to get back, not seeing you correctly, but I want to, and so I'm going to step back and still be working on my perception. And at some point, I'll be able to be totally in your presence and nothing but peace. And so don't feel guilty about that. That's cool.
In order to totally release them, sometimes you have to go back into that situation in your mind and see it differently.
That's what we were being asked to do. Remember how it started? It said, bring up the image, bring up the feelings, bring up the experience that you had with them, and then tell yourself the truth about it. So yes, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what we were asked to do. And I bet you some of you found it very difficult to think about the thing you always think about that upsets you when you're told to think about the thing that always upsets you. I've noticed that. Have you noticed that? As soon as something says, go ahead and think about the person that you got a grievance, all of a sudden you turn to Christ. I can't think of anybody. I have a grievance about God. I love everyone. What are you talking about? This is irrelevant. Then I leave out the room and then ready to go drive off into the river. About the person that I couldn't remember during the class. We're so hilarious. Aren't we funny? We cute, but we just crazy we can be. Because it's always somebody else that needs to change. I'm always using my mind to think about everything except my mind that needs to change. That's what a part of me uses my mind for. Is to always come up with everything and everybody else that needs to do it differently for me to be happy. And that's how I'm using my mind. I use my mind to think more about how I would wish that my children would treat me differently than how I would be working on how I should treat them differently. How the people at work ought to treat me differently than me using my mind to think about how I should be looking at them differently. Am I alone in this? No. Okay, so that is the guarantee that you'll never be happy And that's the guarantee that you'll never be content. So why would I use a plan that never works unless I was listening to the part of me that never wanted me to be happy? So the real issue is my own self-love. Okay, I'm working on myself, I'm studying, I'm reading, I'm meditating, I'm trying to apply the lesson. So what else can I do to help that process? I'm damn sure gonna make sure my inner circle of people who also want to do the same thing. That's gonna be number one. I ain't hanging out with nobody on the intimate level that doesn't want to go beyond their blocks. Cause you can play, and you can party, you can have fun, and you can travel, and you can do everything that you love to do with somebody with some sense. It is not an unwritten law that you have to be doing things with people who you don't feel are supporting you and you are supporting each other and loving each other more. You might, you can choose your friends for sure. For sure, you can choose your friends. Your relatives, you might think, I got to deal with them. But friends? No, it's no excuse for having people in your inner circle that you don't feel like you all are helping each other love and wake up more. That's a surefire sign that you don't want to have happiness. And that doesn't mean you're putting them down, doesn't mean you're judging them, doesn't mean that they're not wonderful people. It just means, are we speeding each other along or are we slowing each other down? That's all it means. Do I want to kind of kid around a little bit longer? Or do I want to, it was funny. It was funny. The Holy Spirit within my mind, my inner voice was saying to me the other day, you want to be in the now more? You want to? Because you get to the point that this voice is in you as well as outside. I mean, that's the whole purpose of all this, to get to the point you can listen to your own inner guide. We all have inner guides, but we're not listening to them because we're not even taught to. But if you do this long enough, you'll start to get conscious guidance, And so anyway, I get it a lot. And they said, you want to be in the now more? You want to take advantage of this really getting on it right now? You think you're kind of kidding around, like to be more perfect? It said, go in the bathroom, and I want you to paste this up on the mirror. It says, say, in 10 years, I will be 75. And see if that doesn't speed you up a little bit. Think about that. Think about that. Just take whatever your age is, just tap 10 years onto it and see if all of a sudden there's a part of you that goes, I might need to be a little bit more present right now. And maybe 90% of the stuff I'm getting upset about really isn't worth nothing. I just might not need to. And I'm not one of these people. I don't run away from my age. I don't try to pretend I'm not my age. I don't try to pretend any of that. I believe each age has a gift that it gives you. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't go back 10 years as far as being younger, as far as the body. Because I know people older than me who don't know as much as people who are 40 years younger than me. So I'm not saying that all I'm saying is, for me, that worked. It was talking to me. That was my guidance. In other words, I am on the way to the next level. Like other people are wondering about it, I'm closer to it. And I know that. There are people around me all the time who are making their transition who are my age. Whether it was people I went to high school with, people say, well, the age is just a digit. Yes, until you get there. Then it's not just a digit.
Yes.
And so my point in saying this is, use your death as an advisor. Use your transition as an advisor, not as something to be morbid about, but you can use it as a way for you to be more present and more loving right now, whatever numerological age that you are. I don't feel anything like I thought I would feel at the age that I am, because I don't believe I'm just a body, and I don't believe I'm just a man, and I don't believe I'm just a human being. I've studied this long enough to know that there's another part of me that transcends the body and transcends age. I've been doing this for 40 years. So being able to function from that awareness in the body, how can you be awake in the body as opposed to trying to think after you die you'll become more awake or more conscious? The goal is, how can we take the consciousness of who we really are and bring it into our day-to-day reality? Well, you're not going to be able to do that as long as you think you're only a body and you think you're only something that's going to die one day. Then you'll never bring your eternal nature of love into the situations and circumstances in your life. And then you have to be able to laugh, because it was kind of funny. like to me, it was kind of hilarious because it really did kind of get me. Like, okay, right, I'm gonna put that up on it, and I did that, and it's like, all right, okay, all right, what can I do today? You know, it's cool. It's cool. It's a good feeling, actually. Good feeling, because it all happened so fast. You know, it was yesterday when I was a little 10-year-old boy running around in the yard, and it goes quickly. It goes quickly, especially if you're having a good time. Now, I haven't had a miserable life, so therefore time doesn't pass by slow. Miserable people, an hour seems like it's 3 weeks. Okay, people who are sad and unhappy and not enjoying their lives, every day is like 24 hours. Every day is like 24 hours. But since I got on this path at 23, it's been a ball.
Yeah.
I've been having a great time with great people for 4 decades now. And so a day passes like that for me. A year passes like that. You know how it is when you're having a good time? When you're having a good time, y'all don't know what I'm talking about. When you're having a good time, time passes by really fast. So my life is going by at like a really fast pace for me. And that's why the Course teaches, and the way of mastery is saying you must get into beginning to accept the idea that you have an eternal nature that is beyond the physical body, because joy and eternity need to go together. That way you're joyful, but you're not afraid to allow the joy because you know you'll always be. You know, and pain goes with time. And that's the beauty of time, is that everything begins and ends in time. So if you're not a joyful person, if you're not happy, it's guaranteed that whatever is causing you unhappiness or whatever pain that you're having, it will end. Pain and sadness has to end because only joy is eternal. Only love is eternal. That's how we know we were created by something loving, because something loved us so much that it saved us from ourselves. Because if it was left up to us, we keep that pain going on and on and on and on and on and on and on, right? The part of us that doesn't love us. So your pain is guaranteed to end, because anything that's not loving must end. That's just the way it is. If it's not loving, it's not going to last. And I want my relationship with all of you and everyone that I love and want to love, I want that relationship to last. And if loving you, which is freeing you and wanting you to be safe and happy, is the way I can allow that to happen, I want to be able to do that by letting go of anything that keeps me from doing it, but I have to let go of my script for how you have to be. If I'm ever going to pull that off, I've got to let my scripts go for all of you, because expectation is the mother of grievances. All your grievances are coming from your expectations. And thinking that it's not okay if you to choose to be around whoever you choose to be around. That's perfectly okay to choose not to be around somebody if you don't feel like you're going to give yourself peace while you're on the way to giving yourself peace. Perfectly okay. It's only guilt that'll make you stick in there anyway. You know, most people think they're in love, but they're in guilt. You're just in deep. The Course says, I love how the Course says, you think it's love, but it's just a beautiful, juicy form of guilt that you're feeling with each other. And y'all are using that guilt to manipulate each other and to keep each other together. You'll make them feel too guilty to leave you. You'll make them feel so guilty they treat you right. So you think anger is going to make you friends. That's the way the fearful mind thinks. It believes that attacking you is going to make you love me more. I'm going off on you about the way you treat me all the time. You're going to love me more. Sounds insane when you hear it, but we do it. It's called getting mad. In case you wondered if you ever do it. It's called getting mad, getting angry. So I'm trying not to get angry by not having expectations to begin with that are unrealistic. So we're going to take each other out the box. All right. Anybody else before we go to the next part? I want to thank y'all for coming. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm always amazed when anybody shows up at any class I ever teach. And I felt that way for years, because it's not a class on positive thinking. The classes are classes on looking at your stuff, doing shadow work, admitting what it is within yourself that you need to change, getting in touch with the truth about yourself and taking a good look at it so it can be gone. That's what any kind of truth class is really going to be about. It's going to be about making you uncomfortable from time to time and taking an honest look at yourself so that you can really be free quickly. You know. So I'm glad that we want to be happy now. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to get there before I'm 75. It's hard to kind of shim up to somebody and go, hey, what's up, baby? Yeah, what's going on? I'm 75. I know that's what you're fantasizing about. I'm a 75-year-old man.
That's right.
But isn't that great that there's always somebody for everybody? And no matter what age you are, no matter where you are, if you know the truth, you'll always be loved, and you'll always have people loving you and appreciating you, and those you could love and appreciate also. That's what's so cool about it. With love, you never lose. With fear, you always think you do. That's why I'm going for the love. Yeah. So the happier you get, the faster time is going to pass. So that's why you need to get in touch with your eternalness. Because like he said, what he said at the very beginning of the section, did it not say you're going to drop it like a toy one day and you're going to feel, oh, that was great. I had that body for a while. That was a cool little old black body. I had a good time with it. Twerked a couple of times. Everything was cool. Everything's cool now. You see what I'm doing? That's right. Next time I'm just going to have, I do it again, next time I'm order up a little bit of a more round butt. There's a few more things I might order slightly bigger. But, but don't you ever think for a minute you didn't choose those bodies, and you didn't choose that sex, and you didn't choose that race, and you didn't choose your parents, and you didn't choose your family. All that stuff was our choice. It's nothing that we experienced and it was not our soul's choice before we came into this experience and promptly forgot about it through the fear and the programming that we gave ourselves so we could forget for a minute and pretend that we are what we pretending we are. And then at some point you wake up and you realize, oh, okay, now it's time for me to come back into the realization of who I am as an unlimited being. And you call that going for enlightenment. People who are ready to stay asleep will tell you that you're nuts and you're crazy. That's okay. Because most of the people that are calling you nuts and crazy aren't having half the amount of fun and peace you are. Check it out. All the people who are judging, they're the ones who usually aren't really having as good a time as you are. So everybody cool? Did I offend anyone? Okay, I just have to try harder. I'm not doing as good as I used to. Next time, try coming back black. It's a lot of fun. Especially when you've been a white slave owner in another life. That was like I was. Made perfect sense. Some of y'all go places and you've been there before.
Oh, yeah.
You meet people that you've known before. And the people that you had the biggest attraction to and the strongest energy toward, that's a continuation and not a beginning. That's why you bond so fast with them. That's why you have such intense feelings. It's not new. You all are giving each other another chance to see if you can go past the illusions about each other to the truth of who you really are with each other. That's what we're doing. We're forgiving each other. There's no telling what we've done to each other. And you don't even have to believe in reincarnation. The truth says you don't have to believe in reincarnation. Because whether there's reincarnation or not, if you're going to correct yourself, it can only happen here and now. So it doesn't really matter whether you believe it or not. But I don't personally believe I could have got this screwed up in one lifetime. I think it would take a little bit more in this one, to come up with the way some of the stuff that I've been dealing with,
That took a lot of practice.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to have fun. This is a play. This is a cosmic drama. This is a movie. You know that, right? Yeah. Just go really deep within, and you'll know that this is true. Go beneath what you've been taught. Go back to when you were a kid and things that you were before you got programmed. Try to go back to that point before everybody started telling you what everything was about. You'll remember that you knew it was more to all of this than what you were being taught. All of us do. And so I think I'm blessed to be around people who are willing to think that, actually. So he says right here, he says, now there are some effects. He says this will mean that when you have truly done that, the exercise, never again do you have any justification or excuse for attaching any experience you've had or any feelings you have ever felt to the hook on the side of their imprisonment that you placed them in. In other words, often the human mind, the egoic mind, wants to hang the coat of its judgment on the hook just outside the bars in which they have locked someone. For instance, that which I have experienced is the result of my father's alcoholism. That which I have experienced in life is the result of my mother having 40,000 affairs a week. That's not too many. Just 40,000 affairs. That sounds pretty busy, don't it? That which I have experienced is the result of my business partner who has stolen my golden coins called money. That which has caused my suffering is the result of the position of the stars in the sky when I chose incarnation. I always tell people that when I do the astrology aspects of counseling with people, that I'm not saying the planets are controlling you or that the stars are controlling you. It is just nothing but a blueprint of the intentions of the soul. It's a message. Just like everything is a message. Everything in the world, it could be used for communication from our higher self to us. So you are trying to give yourself a message. It's almost like if you make an appointment for next week, and then you look in the appointment book and you go, oh, I got to meet Earl at 5 o'clock. You don't say the appointment book caused you to meet Earl at 5 o'clock. The appointment book reminded you of what you intended to do at 5 o'clock. And that's all the chart is. Just a reminder of what the person or what the soul is trying to do. And the easiest way. We weren't dropped here to just try to find our way, trying to live according to other people's value systems that they've given us that we're supposed to live by. You have your own unique path, your own individual path to joy and happiness that always works for you. Always. And that's good to know. So he says, if only they would have gotten it right, I'd be fine. If my father never had that problem, I'd be fine. If my mother had studied the course, I'd be so much better off today. So as we conclude the way of the heart, I say unto you, do not enter the way of transformation until you have truly and fully satisfied your awareness that you are not clinging to even the subtlest iota of perception that in any way you are a victim of the world you see. Transformation will not happen as long as I believe I'm the victim of white people. I'm the victim of black people. I'm the victim of anybody. As long as I see myself as a victim, and let me tell you, coming up, all I heard was I was a victim. That's all from the time I was a kid. Because you black, you can't do this. Because you black, you can't do that. Because you black, because you black, because you black, because you black. But then, well, actually I wasn't black, I was colored. And then I was Negro. And then I was black. And then I was African American. It's so ridiculous. It's so totally ridiculous.
What a lifetime in one lifetime.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, like I tell people, I'm old enough to remember, going to the back of the bus, having separate water fountains, separate restrooms, separate restaurants, going into the back of buildings. I grew up looking at the result of my own consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And you're born into the effect of your own cause. So you get a chance to be born into whatever you have done. To get a chance to see it from the perspective of the receiver when you experience it the first time from the perspective of the giver. Because it's all you. You know what I'm saying? If I smack you, but I am you, then at some point, I've got to see it from the perspective of getting smacked. Because it's all me. See? So the advantage of thinking that we're separate is that it increases the idea that we can do unto others what's not going to be done to us. That's why people like separation. Because then I can just do anything to anybody and I think I'm never going to have to reap the consequences of it. That's why people love separation. But the once you recognize it all is you, then you know that you're going to be on the receiving end of whatever you've given unless you change your vibration and change your consciousness to the point that it would never enter your reality because you're not like that anymore. And that's what grace is about. It's about you getting in touch with the love that you are and the forgiveness that you have so that you never have to experience that ripple coming back to you that you dropped into the pond. Because, you know, you drop a rock into the pond, boop, 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 hits the shore, and comes right back to where it started. So when I have a relationship and it looks like somebody's doing something to me, I just go, oh, okay, I'm only seeing my own past. Okay, let me forgive myself for the time that I acted like that, the time I thought like that, the time I treated a person like that. That's just giving me another opportunity to see it another way. That's why I want to go, I release you, so that I can be released. Because if there's one of us here, then I am going to reap what I have sown. And that could be frightening if I'm not a very loving person. So I want to let the love come through so that I would be at a whole different level of consciousness and a whole other level of vibration. And so, therefore, I don't have to. I was crazy at this level. Did a lot of crazy stuff. But now I'm trying to practice remembering who I really am and becoming more forgiving and more loving, right? So now I'm coming from a more loving part of myself, and that's an energy up here. So I'm above that. And I don't have, now if I want to go back into crazy insanity attack, then I can lower my vibration and go right back down there and go through all the hell that I see other parts of myself going through. And so every time we get together, we get another opportunity to raise our level of consciousness and our level of vibration to a level that only attracts love to us and wonderful things to us. End of karma, because you're no longer there. That's not who you are anymore. And that's why we're studying, to change our mind. That's good news.
Yes, it is. It's good.
Sometimes you could not have to suffer ever about anything you've ever done. That's good news.
Yeah.
That's something to be joyful about, you know. You know why it's not joyful? Because whenever there's somebody that I want to suffer, that I want to take revenge on, I don't want to think they could escape. So I like this forgiveness stuff when it comes to letting me off the hook, but I don't like this forgiveness stuff when it comes to letting you off the hook. And that's why forgiveness isn't so popular with people. It's not because they don't want it for themselves as much as they think it's somebody else that needs to suffer. See, if it let the guy off that did something I don't like that I read about on the news, see, I don't want that. I don't want that. I want him to be punished. I want him to be punished. But in saying that, I'm saying I want to be punished. Universe, whenever I do anything out of fear, whenever I do anything out of ignorance, universe, I want you to punish me really, really bad. How do you know that, universe? Because I want everybody else to be punished really, really bad instead of having them being lovingly corrected and healed. I want them to be punished. So I'm claiming that for myself. So as soon as I do something and I get punished for it, then I'm shocked. But the truth is, I ask for it by wanting it for you. So next time you are ready for somebody else to get punished, just remember, that's what you're telling the universe you would like if you made a mistake, or you were in fear, or you were insane. Kind of gives you a different slant on it then. Unless you want to suffer, then you're glad to have the suffering come back at you. Oh, God. nothing has ever been caused by your relationships. That's about right, isn't it? Nothing has ever been caused by your relationships. All of your relationships have really shown you what you have already decided will be true. All of your relationships are showing you what you've already decided is going to be true for you. So your relationship right now is already what you've decided will be true for you. The world then is not the cause of anything. The world isn't the cause of anything. You merely see what you have used the freedom of your consciousness to concoct for yourself. You're looking at, I said again, everything in your life right now, you're just seeing how you've used your freedom of consciousness and creativity to concoct for yourself. So right now, every area of my life is nothing but a reflection of how I've used my freedom and my mind. And that means whatever situation I'm in that I'm making myself unhappy about, I can change it. I am not a prisoner or stuck in any situation that I am in. So no matter what's going on, it could change for the better. No matter what you're experiencing, it can change for the better, because you're just seeing what you have used the freedom of your own consciousness to concoct for yourself. And in your relationships, you're just seeing what you've already decided will be true for you. So you're free and you're not trapped, and you can have the greatest, most wonderful, most beautiful experiences and relationships that you have ever imagined. That's it. That's it. I know. Woo! Thank you for surviving. I appreciate that. All right, so let's do the financial expression of appreciation. I thank you. That's all I'm gonna say. And those of you who are online, you can go to my website, earlpurdy.com. I really appreciate those of you who are sharing with me in my full-time teaching ministry. I appreciate it. It allows me to keep doing what I'm doing. And I love you. And also I'm available for one-on-one sessions called Clarity Sessions. Go to my website and it explains them in detail. And also go to my website to sign up for the contact list so that I can send you links to the videos so that you can listen to them, especially when you're upset. Especially when you're upset. Listen to the classes, especially when you're upset. Go to these teachings, especially when you're upset. You always need these teachings the most, especially when you're upset. Especially when you're upset. That's when you need it the most. Especially when you're upset. That's when you need it the most. Especially when you're upset. That's when you need this the most. Especially when you're upset and not feeling happy is when you need it the most.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wait, can I ask another question?
Sure.
Okay, so these are all wonderful techniques. I've been utilizing them a lot,
Mm-hmm.
especially since I decided to be reborn.
Mm-hmm.
So that's coming up
Yeah,
soon.
that's 7 weeks. Yeah.
And but sometimes it's like I keep blocking the ego, like, nope, can't get me, you know, and I keep doing that, and it's like,
Mhm.
what about this? I just feel like it's going in the corner, like, what about this? And it's cool, but then all of a sudden, the little tiny weakness spot or wherever it finds its way in, and all that stuff that I've been like, no, it's like it all comes, and I'm like, what? So I'm trying to figure out what I can do when the mind chatter is overwhelming.
And what you can do is that's the
Then you
beauty
need to-
of the lessons and the exercises and the meditations, because he's got like 50 different exercises right in the way of mastery alone that you would do and that you would tell yourself. The Course in Miracles has 365 of them in the workbook, not to mention several more in the text itself, because it's really about how I'm going to interpret the upset that comes in and being tolerant for that part of me that will still forget, because I'm learning, I'm awakening. And so you're not going to do it 100% of the time. And I've been saying that a lot lately, and I'm going to keep saying that, because one of the best ego tricks is to make you think you should be able to do this 100% of the time, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, always have peace, and then the one time that you don't or the 2 times you don't, really, really get upset about it. And the truth is you're supposed to go, oh, okay, well, it came flooding in this time. Wow, boy, I went off for a minute there. I totally forgot the truth. Okay, now I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go back to the truth again. It really is. I wish I could make it more complicated than that, because sometimes we need complicated answers to feel like we've gotten one, because we're programmed that way. But it really is, the answer is just keep doing what you're doing, and then be gentle when you're with yourself during those times that you're not able to do it perfectly. What I do is I go, this is my call for love, this is my call for help, this is my call for healing, this is my call for love, this is my call for help, this is my call for healing. This is an opportunity for me to remember the truth. This is triggering me that I need to remember the truth, that I'm totally innocent and I'm totally loved no matter how I'm feeling right now. And then I tell myself I'm upset because I'm seeing something that's not there. I'm never upset for the reason I think. There's only one answer. There's only one problem, and that's my sense of separation from God. That's my sense of separation from love. And it's taking the form of this thing that's upsetting me right now. Oh, this anger and this fear that I have right now is a trick of my ego to make me think that I can't have the peace that this book is promising me all the time. See, I got a whole host of stuff from this stuff that I'll use the upset to actually remind me to say to myself, but if I hadn't studied it, I wouldn't know what to say. And that's what I'm saying. That's the purpose of the curriculum, is to give you those kind of tools to tell yourself when the stuff comes up. Because if you don't study, you won't know that. You won't have the things to substitute for it. And then some of the stuff loses juice. Like you can say, it's a call for love so long, then after a while it doesn't have a lot of juice for you. But then I switch to something else. Only God's plan for my healing is going to work. I got something to say to my ego every time it comes up to trigger me to remember the truth. I let the ego trigger me to remember what the Course is saying. And so what happens is when your ego mind knows that you're going to go to the truth every time you get upset, then that part of you that's upsetting you is upsetting you so that you'll turn your back on the truth. That's why it's really there. That's why the upset is there. Is to get you to go, this stuff doesn't work. I'm worse than ever. It's not working. And so if you keep going to the truth every time you get upset, then the part of you that's trying to create the upset to try to make you forget the truth will stop doing it. Because if you go to the truth every time you upset yourself, that part of you is going to be undone. And that part of you doesn't want to be undone, so just back off. Okay, just picture your ego as me. Okay, I'm trying to create a lot of drama for her right now so that she'll forget all about the truth and give me more power in terms of this conflict and stuff, right? But if she goes to the truth, it's going to undo me because I am her conflict. I am her fear. I'm the thing that's making her afraid. She goes to the truth, it's going to undo me. So I'm going to give her hell so that she will think the truth doesn't work. But she's going straight to God. She's going straight to the truth. So I'm going to back off. And all of a sudden you'll find that those things will start to happen less and less and less. And what will start to happen is more and more pleasure will start to come. And pleasure is a much bigger distraction to your spiritual development than pain is. Because when you feel pain, you want to get rid of it. When you feel pleasure, you just want more of it. And so what happens is you find yourself, you don't study as much as you used to, you don't read as much as you used to, because now it's so many fun things that are manifesting all around you that you don't have time for that anymore. Right? And so now you're using pleasure to keep your unconsciousness going. So how do you handle that? You handle it the same way. I'm having a lot of pleasure, but I spend 3 or 4 hours a day, if I can, focusing on the truth, even if I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to do it. I've usually studied 2 or 3 hours before most people even wake up, because I have pleasure. Right? It's more potential pleasure in my life than I can possibly even get to. Okay? And so I want it to stay that way. I want the peace and the joy to stay that way. So I'm going to keep putting gas in my spiritual car. Because you know how it is when you run out of gas. The car is running fine up until it goes boom. It doesn't let, you know what I'm saying? It's not like it warns you other than the gauge. You know what I'm saying? It's still driving just fine until it runs out.
You're on the freaking highway.
Right. And my point in saying that is those who start to get the results of studying the truth and the good stuff start to happen, they stop studying. They stop coming to classes. They get caught up in all of the effect of the things that they've been working toward, and they're not putting the gas in the car, which is the study and the meditation. And so all of a sudden things are going great, and then you assemble, everything was going so good, then it crashed. Yeah, you didn't keep doing what you did to create it in the first friggin' place. So what do I do? Things going good, what do I do? Study and read. Things going frightening, what do I do? Study and read. And be around people who want to study and read. Why? Because we all gassing each other up. We're keeping each other full of that energy, you know. So just be gentle with yourself, because there's nothing you can think about yourself. I don't care how upset you get with yourself about anything. It never changes eternal love. Real love is loving you through everything that you're going through right now. And that's it. And besides, you're juicy and cute. You're covered. That's the way it works. All right, mighty companions. Huh? All right, mighty companions. Are we cool, mighty companions? Okay, now, it's not unusual when you hear the truth for anger to come up. It's not unusual when you hear the truth for anger to come up. You'll find yourself sometimes feeling angry, and you don't know why when you hear this stuff. It's not you that's angry. It's your ego that's angry, because you're daring to love yourself in spite of the part of you that thinks you don't deserve it. And that's something to be proud of. So let's acknowledge us, Holy God. We're awesome beings. Yeah. So we did some of these tonight. So be on the lookout for your miracles. And I will see you hopefully on Sunday. And they're gonna film again.
What?
Yeah. So
Jeez.
yeah. So anyway, I told them it's great. Come. I'm not making a big deal out of it. You're just gonna love. But it's interesting to see what's happening. It's so much going on in my life right now. You all don't have any idea. And I'm just studying and focusing and meditating and praying and trying to stay totally centered, because everything I've ever wanted or thought I wanted in my life to happen to me is all happening right now. And I want to see it correctly. I want to see it correctly. I want to stay centered. I want to stay on what's real and what's important. And most of all, I want to be flexible and open and willing to change and willing to get out of my box and willing to go on my edge and willing to try new things and just stay open. You know, that's in trust. Like he says, feel and trust. That's what I'm doing right now. And that's why I want to support you as that happens to you also. Awesome beings. That's right. Well, may the course be with you.